The Houston Texans like to fight, guys. You saw on Sunday that there was a practice. Devin Singletary was mad about how hard Christian Harris hit him. Yesterday, cornerback MJ Stewart popped someone in a crowded lane between guards who proceeded to pile on. Some guy jumped on the top, and you have now back-to-back practices with Donnie Brooks, kerfuffles, squabs. Here's D'Amico Ryans weighing in on the latest.
It was a little scuffle today. It's, not important. It's football. It's training camp. It gets a little testy. We're probably at our wits' end of going against each other, and so it's really good and be refreshing. All right, to have Miami come in over the next 3 days. Those guys will be here, be able to practice against those guys. So really looking forward to the joint practices versus Miami. Had a good conversation with Mike and our plans of how practices will go. So excited about the opportunity, right, to get a chance to go against a different scheme, different people. It's coming at the right time for our group, and our guys will be ready to go and excited about it.
TL didn't listen. D'Amico Ryans just said, yeah, we're sick of practicing against each other, and now we want to beat up somebody else. We're sick of beating inside our own family like we're a bunch of Irish Catholics in the 1930s. Now it's time to wallop on kids on the corner. He's pro-violence, Sean Mapes.
Wait, okay.
Yeah. He wants to beat up people outside the family. Because
they're tired of beating themselves?
Right. They're tired of beating
They want
themselves.
some action from a different team?
Yeah, exactly, Sean. Which could be interpreted a variety of different ways. What I love about this is that, yes, maybe when it comes to rap sheets and such, the Texans do have a lot of Boy Scouts. But I know a lot of people here in Houston, you have been waiting and praying for the day that the Texans would have a bunch of players on the team who'd consider slugging a grandma if they could. Guys, those days are here. And I'm not saying that these guys would slug a grandma, but would they think about it? Just based off the last couple of practices. Last 2 years, no fights. You say, You know what I say, Sean? This is what happens when you have somebody who's on your ass. This is what happens when you have a head coach who's actually got a little pep in his step and is actually having you maybe believing that this team has a chance to go somewhere. And I think all realistically we're like, no, not this year for this team. But it's nice to see they all have a pulse, and it's nice to see that they're going balls out at practice.
Yeah, no, it's nice that there's that, I don't know, just general life to be upset enough to want to fight your teammate. Like, that means there are like emotions and like a identity that is being passed on of like, no, we're going to be a tough football team.
Yeah. And occasionally fight each other.
Yeah.
Brothers fight.
Eventually during the season, maybe fight the other guys.
Yeah. See, that's the best part.
I don't need them to slug grandmas like you do, Paul. I just need them to slug like Jacksonville Jaguars every once in a while. Just slug a team, a commander every once in a while.
Just punch a colt right in the face.
Yeah.
Is that a crime? Are you allowed to punch horses? I'm just asking. I'm sure there are a lot of horse owners here. They're like, yeah, I punch my horse all the time. When he's not pulling the plow the speed I like, you know what I do? I just go punch him right in the nose.
I think it is like your kids, where people do it, but you're not supposed to.
Okay, can I tell you a story? I don't want to get this lady in trouble. So yesterday I finally got a car, and I got a lift to go finally pick up my car. And I was driving through Houston traffic at like 5:30, so it was about a 40-minute drive. And the lady who was my Lyft driver, who was very entertaining, had apparently had like a really bad day. Like, her kid, less than a week into school, cut classes. And she was just nonstop. Like, I was her therapist, just venting about today's generation. And I was like, well, you are making good points. I'm just going to let her cook. And a couple of times she brought up, like, man, if only we were back in Alabama, which I guess is where she was raised. And she was like, you can't do no whooping here. And I was like, whoa, what? oh, yeah, this is one of the softest states there is. You can't whoop anybody. I was like, is this seriously happening? I felt a little uncomfortable. I was just like, well, I don't have any kids. She said at one point, talking about her kids, F them kids. I'm not kidding.
Oh, wow.
I was like, whoa.
With full Michael Jordan.
Right. So, look, I'm not saying DeMeco Ryans is encouraging that. He wants to have all of these guys to be good men. I'm saying DeMeco Ryans is more encouraging the Houston Texans the way that the family in Fast and the Furious challenges themselves. Have you noticed that no one has ever actually beaten another guy in a fight inside the family outside of maybe Roman? Hell, Jason Statham and Han got in a draw in the most recent movie. That's unrealistic. And I know that a bunch of the guys in these movies have clauses in their contract that they can't lose a fight. Vin Diesel, The Rock, Jason Statham. Maybe you have too many guys with non-losing a fight clauses. But in that family, the fighting amongst the family leads to success against not the family. And it's good that the Houston Texans are fighting each other. How about that? You like that take?
There we go. Also, it's illegal to punch a horse.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
What's the crime?
It falls into animal cruelty.
Oh, damn. Well, if Pete is listening to this segment, listen, I've never punched a horse. Also, I feel like if you punched a horse, it probably wouldn't end so well for you, right? They probably...
No, you wouldn't hurt it.
I bet you could maybe hurt its feelings.
Yeah, okay.
But it probably
hurt
put
it,
you
but
into
not
the sky.
enough. Not enough for it to not hurt you.
Getting kicked by a horse is a pretty terrifying proposition.
Yeah.
In response.
I have a family member who died because they got kicked by a horse.
You did? Oh,
Yeah.
Damn. Sorry. That's close to home.
No, it was before I was born.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Listen, I didn't know if you were traumatized by it. What other things happened at Texas training camp yesterday? CJ Stroud hit Robert Woods in the corner of the end zone for a nice touchdown. People were talking about that. How about Steven Nelson? After calling his general manager a clown freak, he has been a freak himself in a good way because he had a pick six of CJ Stroud. So Nelson's playing well. Derek Stingley's been looking good. He had a nice deflected pass that I saw from Sunday's practice. I think he posted it on his Instagram story. So that's all good to hear. There's one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. Part of it has to do with the fact that the Texans are trying to make sure that none of the guys on this part of the team get hurt because it's their best unit. But you already have Titus Howard out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. There's been some mixing and matching going on the offensive line. And part of it's because some guys like Laramie, why did I say it like that? Part of it's because some guys like Laramie Tunsil have been getting off days. And I think Shaq Mason has been getting some off days as well. And of course, Scott Questenberry's out. But I mean, you have 2 possible starting offensive linemen out for the beginning of the year. Scott Questenberry might have won the starting gig over Juice Scruggs. And now, who knows when Titus Howard's going to be back. But you're also seeing offensive linemen like Austin Deculus, who you might remember from Thursday night if you watched the game, getting injured too. DeMeco Ryans was asked yesterday if all of the moving parts on the offensive line theoretically could affect how many reps CJ Stroud gets. I did not like this answer.
It doesn't. I think when we go to how many reps we're going to play them, we'll look at it collectively. And I think at the end of the day, we want to see guys just go play, get more time than they did the first time out, and just see how they handle more. So it doesn't matter who's out there with the offensive line. It's not going to dictate, which quarterback is in.
Probably should. It probably should. So if we're going to talk about putting CJ Stroud on the bench, I don't hate the idea of CJ Stroud being on the bench for the preseason. I really don't. That offensive line that was in against New England at first, even if it's the most elite pass rush in the NFL per Colin Cowherd, it's why you shouldn't make too much out of it for CJ Stroud, a guy who he thinks is going to fail in the league, a weird zag against his own zag of a take. That line was bad early on. And I mean, that's a big problem that you have in the preseason is you really see on full display just how little depth there is on offensive lines across the NFL. I mean, some of these offensive lines are really, really bad out there.